beautiful day to you, our esteemed viewers from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria, and welcome to another beautiful episode of the program Disability Voice. I am Favor Agara, your beautiful host. Disability Voice program is created to educate the government and the church that persons with disability can be loved, can be enabled, can be educated, and can be empowered, because disability is not a stigma. It is also to advocate for the rights and the interests of persons with disability. Today, we'll be looking at an interesting topic. Handle this topic with me today in the studio is Mr. Vincent Chinedu Okoye. Mr. Vincent Chinedu Okoye is an IT specialist, and he is also the CEO of Albinism Aid Center. Mr. Vincent, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you today on the program. And I know it's going to be interesting having this conversation with you. So
Awesome.
we're moving on to it right away. So I want you to tell us and tell the viewers out there what you understand by albinism.
Right.
I know you actually fall into the class, but we want to learn so that we can know what it means for someone with albinism, that we understand persons with albinism. So please, can you tell us now, what is albinism?
All right, thank you very much. For layman definition, so albinism, if I should say, is a condition, is a hereditary condition characterized by absence or partial absence of tyrosinas, which is a copper-containing enzyme involving the product ingredients that necessitates for the coloration of the skin, hair, and eyes. So probably as we proceed, I will give more explanation to it, but just have the understanding that albinism is just a condition, it's a genetic condition or inherited condition from birth. We inherit it from our parents, be it male or female, but it's an inherited condition which in turn necessitates either absence or complete absence or partial absence of tyrosinas, which is a copper-containing enzyme involving the production of melanin. Like I said, that melanin is what gives the coloration. Apart from the coloration, it also protects the skin from harmful ultraviolet, which is what we will get from the UVF. So understand, so that if you look at it, many people with albinism do have some skin issue, but as we produce it, I will throw more light on that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I hear you say inherited condition.
Yes.
Now, inherited condition, we have a case whereby both parents are not persons with albinism, but yes, they gave birth to persons with albinism. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, so that is why it's inherited. So it's a genetic condition. So when it's gene, it's something that runs in the blood. Mm-hmm. Okay, so your parents might not be a person with albinism. Even two of them might not be albinism person per se, but they have that gene. So the gene runs in them. Probably if you trace their origin, maybe their background, probably they have their forefathers or their parents who actually happens to be person with albinism. But because they are, maybe when one of them married to a person without albinism or without the albinism gene, so it's blocked that lineage of transmission for a large extent, or maybe for some generations. Then as time goes on and maybe one of your grandchildren, for example, get married to a person that is also carrying the gene, but not a person with albinism. Now the two genes have come together. So okay, it means that two of them will not give possibility of giving birth to somebody with albinism. Okay. Yeah, so that is why it's inherited. It has nothing to do with the child development process. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. I still want to go further. We still want to know. I know the viewers will also want to know, what are the types of albinism? At least you've told us the causes of albinism due to your explanation now. So what are the types? Do they have types, or will only have one type of albinism?
Okay, yeah, so basically there are two main types of albinism. The most common one, we have ocular albinism, and then we have oculocutaneous albinism. Now, so the ocular albinism actually affects only persons, it affects people only on their eyes. So that's why it's ocular. Ocular means one, so for the visual. So it affects only the eyes. You see their coloration looks almost like, typical, like the full coloration, like you may not differentiate the person that this is person with albinism. So, but we get to know by their iris and their pupil. So you see the coloration is not the same, and even their eyesight is also, they have reduced eyesight. So, but in their color, skin, and the rest, it will be almost the same. So, but in oculocutaneous, okay, first, before I finish that ocular affects mostly people, let me say male child. Okay. Yeah, so because of the mutation in X chromosomes. So it affects most people. You see most people that are having that ocular albinism, they will be mostly male child offspring. So, but you hardly see it on female, but not that they're not there, but they are very rare. Okay, so that is for the ocular albinism. Now, for the oculocutaneous albinism, which is a full example of myself, yeah, so this is a full blown. In fact, I may even need to also remove my hat so that I also see it well. Yeah. Yes. So this is full oculocutaneous person with albinism. Now, it means that both the hair, skin, and the eyes is actually having a reduced pigmentation. And and we also, apart from that oculocutaneous, now there are other types of oculocutaneous albinism. I don't know if you are following. So one is the ocular albinism, then next is oculocutaneous. Then in oculocutaneous, we now have different classes. So we have oculocutaneous 1, then 1A. So that 1A, you see that many people with albinism, like, will have their hair coloration, like the hair will be almost, if I should use the word, purely white. Understand? Even their color, there will be less coloration on them, because, and then maybe their eye visual acuity will also be much reduced. Then we also have the oculocutaneous 1B, which is typical of myself. Now you see that we have some different color of this hair. You can see my hair is not purely white. Some will say it's yellow, some will say it's gold, some different hair. Yeah, so I'm having some elements of coloration, pigmentation. So, and my visual acuity will be different, much improved than the person of the oculocutaneous A1B. So these are the winning products. Then apart from that, we have the 1, 2, 3, which I don't know time may allow us to, but the major difference in all these things is the coloration, the tendency of forming to syndrome. Maybe, for example, the level of sun penetration on your skin because of the melanin development, and then the level of your visual acuity in terms of the level, how far you can sight, and the level of you being able to control light penetration or sun penetration into the eyes. So these are the person. Then there are other type of albinism which are syndromatic, although those ones are very rare. So we have this Higashi syndrome, we have this Gray-Selly syndrome, we have this Hermansky syndrome. So most of them, there are some of them that has to go with maybe bleeding. Maybe when bleeding will just be coming from the skin. But they are very rare to see, you understand? But they are still there. And they are not even common in Africa per se, but these are some of the type of albinism that we have. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that detailed explanation. Okay, I still don't mind me. Today we just want to learn more about albinism, please. So now, are there symptoms associated with albinism?
Okay, so yes.
Are there symptoms?
Yes. Okay, so for example, one of the symptoms that we know you already, yes, for example, when you see from a childhood, the only thing that you might notice, maybe when the child is born, the only thing you might notice is that the color, that is the first thing that will show you. You understand? The person, normal typical, because you will say maybe the person is a little bit lighter. When you are born new, you might be like, yeah. But when a child is born new, you notice that the person might be more lighter in terms of coloration, and you also notice it on the hair. Then apart from that, when you are growing up, you don't notice that, for example, you begin to notice that this person cannot see from a far distance. So most persons with albinism, part of the symptoms you have is that we are mostly short-sightedness in nature. So which means that we might not be able to see, okay, for example, what somebody might be sitting down to see in 20 to 40 distance, we might need, like, if you can sight an object between maybe 60 miles away, person with albinism might need to be closer to about 20 to 15 miles closer to it to be able to see that. So that is one of the symptoms you see. And again, sun effect is also part of the symptoms of albinism, because once a person with albinism exposes himself to the sun, he will be burned. Like, you have a sunburn, you see some of those black spots you see on most of us, freckles, red burns, even sometimes develop to skin cancer. So, but these are some of the symptoms that we see. But in terms of normal, healthy, in terms of living standard, like in terms of intelligent development, your IQ, in terms of your performance, it has nothing to do with albinism, but it's only just a kind of showing, okay, these are the limitations you have, like your inability to see far objects, your inability to expose yourself to the sun because of the effect it will have on you. So basically, these are the major symptoms of
Wow,
albinism.
thank you so much for that explanation too. So still going forward with my questions, do persons with albinism, they have health issues?
Yes. So
You know, we
now most of
see,
my explanation now
yes.
correlates. Yeah, but people see me might not take me as a full example of the health issues we are addressing, because I might consider myself a little bit lucky. Yeah, but even though you can still see that. So,
So there are still some people that are not, that their cases or their skin is also
yes, you
worse
have
than,
more
okay,
challenge, although, and it depends on level of exposure and education, and
okay.
maybe privilege as well, per se. So part of the health issue, one, like we said, that sun is our greatest enemy. And then, why is this so? Because of the ultraviolet radiations that the sun emits on us, because we have low pigmentation on our skin, which helps to maybe act as a protective factor on the skin, and which is reduced, or even in some cases, I don't want to use the word completely absent, but it's debatable. So because of that, once we expose ourselves to the sun, it burns us quickly. So most people, you see that about, if I'm not mistaken, but let me not over-exaggerate, about 70% of death among persons with albinism is caused by skin cancer. And this is as a result of the sun exposure, the effect of the sun. Because a lot of people, okay, it's nowadays that maybe awareness started coming up, okay, like educate yourself, wear long sleeve, use some protective factor like sunscreen and the rest of them. But before now, everybody tries to hustle. When I should use the word hustle to make a living. You understand? So, but you see that most of us, because we are small things like this, will be burnt. You see freckles. From there, before you know it, you see moles, sunburns, reddish stuffs, and it develops to skin cancer. And treating skin cancer is not an easy way to go. And apart from that, one of our health issues again, like some of those syndromatic ones I did talk about, which leads to bleeding of the bodies and the rest of them. So it's something that if your family are not really wealthy, they will not be able to cater for you in that aspect. And our sites, honestly, is a challenge. It's also a part of health-related stuff. But if it's managed, it will not be an issue. It might just be something you can live with. Yes, so because a lot of people develop some eye issue, maybe because you cannot be able to see where you keep on squeezing the eye. Sometimes people might be using some unnecessary or uninformed medications, and before you know it, it leads to cataract or even more worsened vision challenge. You see, some people may not be able to see at all or almost blind. So part of this, so our major health challenge is our skin and our sight.
Wow.
That's a major health
Thank you
challenge.
very much for educating us on this. Viewers, will be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. Don't go anywhere.
Now streaming, now analyzing, now assessing, now discussing, now sharing your thoughts on everything and every issue that affects you. ACNN's Now Streaming discusses the issues trending and the matters that matter to us all. Join us every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. on ACNN as we go in depth into every issue that impacts our lives, our communities, and our country.
Welcome back, viewers. If you are just joining us, this is the program Disability Voice. And today we are looking at the topic Understanding Albinism. And still with me in the studio is Mr. Vincent Okoye Chinedu. Just like as I introduced him before, Mr. Vincent Okoye Chinedu is an IT specialist and he's also the CEO of Albinism Aid Center. Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
welcome once again.
Thank you.
So I still want us to discuss more about this albinism thing. I know you represent the word albinism. So now I still want to ask, is albinism a disability? And if it's a disability, is that type of disability, is it contagious?
Okay, thank you very much. So, albinism, although some people try to debate it, so it depends on the perspective or the definition that you want to go along with. But generally speaking, so albinism fall under disability group because once, for example, our issue of skin and eyesight makes albinism a kind of disability. Okay, so when you cannot be able to carry out activity within the normal range or within the normal circumstance, it becomes a disability. For example, when you cannot be able to carry out some activities or chores under the sun or normal atmosphere, it becomes, and you are from normal perspective within other range, it becomes a disability. So for persons with albinism will fall under the disability group because it cannot, for example, I myself cannot take job that will keep me under the sun for a very long time.
Already.
Yeah, so that is the limitation. So I'm disabled in that aspect. Then on the issue of eyesight as well, you cannot be able to, maybe from here now, take a lecture or read from the screen, and you cannot be able to do some of those jobs, is also a disability. So once they are giving you equal opportunity or time to do work with other people within a distance in terms of sighting objects, and you can't do it, it's a disability. So by that, albinism fall under disability group.
Yeah.
And again, on the contagious aspect of it, so albinism is not contagious. So it's hereditary. That's why we keep saying it's a hereditary.
You know why I actually asked that question? Because we had a case whereby a pregnant woman will say, if you touch the person, you will give birth to
person with albinism.
persons with albinism.
These are part of the myths that goes around. Even some people say don't eat pepper. Person with albinism don't eat pepper, don't eat salt. All those things are not scientifically or medically proven. So it's a myth around albinism.
And there is also a tendency. Do you think that there is a tendency that persons with albinism getting married to another person with albinism, or maybe someone without albinism? Is there any tendency of them giving birth to a child with albinism? Okay,
so first, if a person with albinism marry a person with albinism, for me, it's an automatic offspring of albinism.
Okay.
Because two of them carries the albinism gene.
Okay.
Yeah, then for a person with albinism getting married to a person with albinism, and once if the person is not carrying the albinism gene, I know many of us that get married and our children are not person with albinism. They get married to a non-person with albinism and they give birth to offspring without albinism. So it depends. And I have also seen a situation by a non-person with albinism, married person with albinism, and one of two of their child become person with albinism because he carries the albinism gene without knowing. So it's it's something that you just have to make some ways comparison and examination before you dive into but it have nothing to affect your marriage or anything.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So now, is there any stereotype, considering the society we are now and our mindset too? Everybody wants to be thinking. We think here, we think there, we think up and down. So is there any stereotype towards persons with albinism in the society?
Enormous. So again, it also depends on the society or community you find yourself. So, but majorly, persons with albinism face a kind of discrimination, stereotyping. Some way for Yoruba land, I know they will say Afe. Even sometimes they'll be singing some songs for you, Oyibo Pepe, Shuku Shuku Pepe. Sometimes even when you are working on road, you will say Oyibo whatever, put on for leather, tomorrow morning it goes sour. Permit me to use that pidgin, but that is part of the songs that they use. And then sometimes when you maybe in a work area, they tend to discriminate. It will be like, this person with albinism will come and employ him now. He or she might be a burden to us. Oh, no, don't employ this person. He might not be able to serve us. He might not represent our organization well. A lot, even sometimes, even in marriage, some families will not allow you to marry a person with albinism, even especially the female persons with albinism. Some families select, don't go and marry a Afi or Igbo or a person with albinism in our family. But those are days. Come on, if you allow person with albinism to live normal, like all you need is an enabling environment and adequate care. It has nothing to do with God's being caused. Some will say that is the sin of the parents that caused them to have a child or a person with albinism. Some will say that, oh, that is God sent. So it depends on different.
I even had the one that said that the man actually slept with his wife when the woman was seeing her menstruation. That was why he gave birth to persons with albinism.
These are the needs. A lot of them, if time permits, there are a lot of men that we actually need to clear off. It has nothing to do. Some will even say that if you sleep with a person with albinism, it will cure your HIV or will cure your AIDS. Come on, and that's why you see some places they use person with albinism to do ritual, thinking that it or go and rape our female persons. They're thinking that it will cure them or it will give them money. They have magical power. Come on, it's not so. It's all these are the stereotypes and myths around albinism.
Yeah. Viewers, you've heard it. Persons with albinism are also human beings like us, like every other person out there, and they have their right to everything out there. Stop the discrimination against them, because we are all one in the society. So now I still want to go further, Mr. Vincent.
Okay.
Is there any treatment for persons with albinism?
Well,
maybe somebody wants to say, let's go to the hospital and do the treatment, treat albinism. Is it possible?
Well, albinism as a whole, no. Take that one off. Even persons with albinism should take that one off their mind. You are a person with albinism by nature and you have nothing to regret. Even me, if I should come to the next world again, I prefer to still be a person with albinism. Yeah, so if you are not accepting who you are, then I don't know. So, but then if you have symptoms, like maybe like if you develop illness, if you develop issues, problems like health challenges, yes, there are treatments. You understand? Maybe issue of skin cancer, issue of freckle, maybe developing some skin damages, yes, you can now go for normal treatment. Or maybe you want to look for a way to improve your visual acuity. Like maybe you need to improve, like just like me that are wearing glasses now. Some can just use glasses to improve their visual acuity, but it doesn't even correct it completely. So it doesn't take away that, but then it can help you to improve. But saying maybe treat albinism so that to change your color as well. So it's no-go area. So you just try to adapt and live with who you are and accept yourself.
Understand it. Yeah. Thank you very much for educating us on this today. So what is your last word to the viewers?
So for persons with albinism, please accept yourself, value yourself, make the best of yourself, try as much as you can to improve on who you are, and accept yourself, because the way you dress is where the people are dressed you. Whatever you make is what you become. And for the general public, please stop discrimination of persons with albinism. In fact, even the general public and persons with disability as a whole, it doesn't want it. So for persons with albinism, please, once you give them adequate care, if you meet a child or a person with albinism that is not wearing long sleeve or is not protecting himself, you can be the voice. Please, you might not be able to, you might not know, just like educating, please. It's not good for you to be wearing short sleeve or maybe exposing yourself on the sun. Just small, if you have advice, give him, but please stop singing on the road, or you both pepe, or can you see me, how many fingers is it? All these things are derogatory and they keep on worsening or making people to pull out of school. Please, try as much as you can to contribute in nation building instead of causing somebody to actually be the reason why he or she will take his life or to live abnormal or regret why God created him. Together, we'll make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vincent. This is really wonderful. It was great having you here in this program today. And thank you for coming. We really appreciate you. And we hope to have you in more episodes.
Always available.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Viewers, you've heard it all. Persons with albinism, they have rights. Yes, they can do every other thing like every other person. Though the limitation is there, the disability is there, but it does not show that they don't have ability. They also have ability of their own. So this is where we'll draw the curtain of today's program on the understanding of albinism. Till we come your way, same time, same station, next time, please remain blessed. I remain Favor Agara. Bye for now.